Hey friends, Mark Holmes here, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, man, this channel does not work, so I appreciate each and every one of you guys. We are on the very last day of minicamp, and I think this offseason has been fantastic. I am so happy that the Cowboys got Zach Martin's deal done. I think that that's going to be one of those deals that we're going to look at and say, yeah, that was definitely worth it. And so now a lot of people are saying, well, it's time for the Cowboys to turn their attention to Demarcus Lawrence and get him done. Now, there's some advantages to getting him done because if you can lock him down and he stays the player that he's been this last year, the price tag's going to go up. If he has another season just like he had this year, $17 million is going to seem like a bargain. In which case, then you have to decide, am I going to pay that guy or am I just going to let him go? If you don't sign him to that mega deal and you keep him on the franchise tag and it ends up being that was just a 1 year bust, well, then you can go ahead and let him go or possibly sign him for a lower rate. I'm making doors for the cabinet outside there. If you're wondering what I'm doing, they're going to be like a beadboard barn door, so that way I keep all the cushions for the outdoor cabinet out there safe. And then I'm going to build another cabinet that's going to go above it for the TV, so that way we have the outdoors really together. But anyway, so a lot of people will say, man, just pay the man. And that's the same thing that we said about Dez Bryant. The man has earned the money. Just pay the man. Give him his money. And that's fine and good because you can either pay a guy for what he's already done or you can pay him for what you hope he's going to do. And in the NFL, you want to pay him for what you hope he's going to do. Because in the end, you only have so much money that you can spend on everybody. And there's some positions you can spend more than others. Some positions the guys will play longer. And this is the problem for Seattle right now with Earl Thomas. They've been burned on contracts. Right now, the whole Cam Chancellor deal. Cam Chancellor may never play again. They're going to pay an injury settlement, and it's basically lost money. They lost on Marshawn Lynch paying him to keep him satisfied. And so those things have direct issues for your team going forward because it hamstrings you on what you can do. And herein lies our problem last year. Because forget about Zeke Elliott being suspended, because people will say Zeke Elliott caused us to be out of the playoffs, which is true. Probably since Dak Prescott is 17-7 with Zeke and 7-7 without him, having Zeke would have helped. True. But you could have also lost Zeke Elliott to injury, okay? Because that's a possibility as well. So you've got to think and account for those things in general because players don't always play a full season. It's the natural order of things in the NFL. It just happens. So you have to be prepared for it. If our team had had depth last year, we would have been a playoff team. Flat out. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But we couldn't pay quality guys on our team because we had so much money tied up in big salaries, as well as continually to have to pay for bad contracts. We have $24 million this year that's dead money for guys that aren't on the team. Think about that. You could almost double Zach Martin's contract And that is money we're paying for players that are not on the team. Tony Romo hasn't played in 2 years, but we're still paying $9 million to him. Des Bryant, he signed that big deal when everybody said pay the man, he deserves it. But what generally happens after that magical 28-year mark, players' production starts going down. And our Cowboys have been famous for taking care of guys that really haven't done anything. Now, you can say, well, Mark, then why'd you pay Zach Martin? Well, Zach Martin, there's never been an issue. You got a guy who's been 4 Pro Bowls, never missed a game in the top of his game, still in his youth. You got to pay him. But in other cases where the Cowboys have taken big risks, like let's say Miles Austin. Miles Austin finally had a great season after having an injury history. Got a 6-year, $54 million contract, and within 2 years he was gone from the team. You could take Roy Williams, who, oh my God, we gave up 2 number 1 draft picks, which was bad enough, but we also paid him a 5-year, $45 million contract. I know that sounds like peanuts now, but when we did that, 8 years ago, that was a big portion of your salary cap. And he was only on the team for a year and a half. Terrence Newman, an aging cornerback, and it's still amazing that he's still playing, but we gave him a 7-year, $50 million contract. And, these guys have injuries and things. You could look at a guy like Ken Hamlin, 6 years, $40 million. Had 1 interception the next 2 years while he was with the team. So you have these guys that got that paid, got that guaranteed money, and then they're gone off your team, but what's left is that cap hit, that dead money. And so now you're at a crossroads with Demarcus Lawrence, who, listen, last year was incredible. Last year was fantastic. But what you don't know is that Demarcus Lawrence from here going forward? Or is it Demarcus Lawrence who's been up and down? We had Jason Hatcher have 11 sacks one season, even though his career average was 3. Got the big contract in Washington, went right back down to 3. So the team is trying to figure out, is this the Demarcus Lawrence who's going to get 14.5 sacks? Or is this the Demarcus Lawrence that's going to get 7 sacks or 1 sack? Is this a guy who, he had the back surgery last year, is the back going to come back? Because you're looking at a number of a long-term deal of probably $75 million. And you're talking about a big chunk of guaranteed money. And that's why I think the Cowboys are going to probably stand pat, because you do have that up and down history. You've got 2 sacks in the playoffs his rookie year. You've got 8 sacks his sophomore year. You got 1 sack injuries his 3rd year, and then all of a sudden you got 14. So the jury's still kind of out on if he is the guy that deserves that mega deal. But I think the Cowboys will stand pat on that one. But if they do decide to give him a long-term deal, you can guarantee that they can grab an extra $7 million or so for this year's cap, which would be good if you're trying to get some players. But technically, you don't need it. You have enough if you want to try and get Earl Thomas. Just saying. Just saying. But as always, guys, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. I could not do this without you guys. And I will see you soon.